printing much now because I can't really do that anymore. It's too hard. Physically.
Right.
To clean that shit, you know. I think the last one, that was the next to the last. This is the last print I did, and this is about 3 years ago. So I don't know if there's a date on it. This is the one you saw this morning.
Who is the figure up in the central?
The central figure is Eros.
Eros.
Eros, the god Eros, who was the central figure of at least my life at the time, and probably the central figure, the thing or person that you fall in love with, that you become totally fascinated with, and I tried to make the figure a very powerful personage.
Is it modeled after someone?
No, but I had a photograph, a 1913 photograph of a Greek kid who was actually holding 2 lilies like that. And that fascinated me. And what's happening? You can see this is me.
That's you.
Again, this is the best.
That makes me think of is it the Greek myth where someone's chained to the wall and they're being eaten by vultures and stuff?
Something like that, but
for eternity.
It's more Icarus form.
Prometheus.
Icarus.
No. Icarus was the one who fell from the
sky. Yeah, well,
waxed wings.
These are the wings.
Oh, so you've got both combined then?
No.
No.
He's the wings are being held on by.
I see.
By these things.
I see. I saw the arms like that. It made me think of that Prometheus. Like
no. This figure is in motion. This is as it's going down, and it's going into the inside of this creature, this Eros. So my intention is that I'm penetrating this perhaps to understand the mystery of Eros. Maybe I did understand
this. Is especially intriguing to me with you depicting yourself with the wings like this. And I'm doing all these, of course, these wing drawings I'm doing myself for some years now.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've had a lot of wings in the paintings. This orgasm is the best of all. It gives forth everything. Everything. This is the whole.
So you wouldn't talk about this one in the museum classes?
I'm scared shitless. I mean, to say a joke, and then have my chairman come in and say somebody has, brought this up, and she never accused you of any, touching, fondling, anything like that, but that this, and he says, I myself don't think it's anything, but. And you will never know who it is from me until if she presses charges.
Well, something like that.
But I want to tell you, that threw me off my horse.
It came up in some school a few years ago, where some woman student brought up some. I can't remember what the specific incident was. Oh, it was at Yeshiva University or some Jewish institution in New York.
Are you running the camera now?
Yeah, I am.
Why don't you? Oh, okay.
That all fits into the discussion. I can't remember what this. He was just lecturing. And what everyone else would have construed as being harmless and innocuous, someone took great offense to, and it turned into this huge to-do, charges and everything.
Yeah. They used to call that censorship.
Well, I tell you, it had a terrible effect on me because I didn't know whether I did anything wrong or not, to tell you the truth. And it led to my desire to get out of there. And 2 years later, I did have an opportunity to leave, and I did. And I could see where it would make somebody uncomfortable, but things make people uncomfortable.
Maybe in the catalog for the course you should say suggestion for mature viewers.
I remember when I went to, my brother was at the School of the Art Institute, and I went. I visited one of his lectures. I forget the name of the teacher, but he was talking about that painting, with the garden of earthly
delights.
And he was talking about all the sexual stuff, and I mean, it just seemed everybody was laughing and enjoying it. It didn't. it didn't seem like anyone was worried about it at that time. I mean, I guess this was about 15 years ago or something.
But you're going to have some Puritan types, whoever, who are not going to take their kids to a museum. This seemed like a nude Greek sculpture, for example.
When she wrote this report, she said, I really like this man very much as a teacher. And while we've hugged, it's been at my instigation. So she exonerated me of things like, hugging as a sexual advance. And he's really helped me. But this thing with the joke about his penis not being there and the demon, and that to me was factual.
Right. Some people are going to... I think some people are going to not know how to handle the discussion of penises, vaginas, orgasms, or any of that in a public setting.
I know. But the anonymity of it bothered me.
Yeah.
I wish I could... Which of my best students are feeling this way? That was the bad part about it.
Right.
I consulted the printmaker who I was very close to, and she pictures of her. We went through who could do this, and she will. Could it be this one? No, she would do it. And it was so debilitating, Let's go to the studio.
That whole bottom half of the painting.
It's not in the
painting.
No.
Okay.
No, it's just the figures over here. But this is great. This is I shouldn't really go into it at this point because they're very long and they're not really relevant. But this female figure came to obsess me. This came from an even earlier photograph, a cracked glass plate with a male figure and a female figure. And it was so soft, I was able to, like the worst photographs make the best for a painter because there's enough there, but it's not literal. You can't copy everything. There's a danger sometimes. You have to add a lot. Right, bring your own stuff into it. Well, this became the back of a male figure, but it's got the face, which you can hardly see. Oh yeah, of an animal. Here's the horns, and there's a face of a goat. And this is a death's head. See, with a beret. Sorry, Ken.
That's okay.
I wear berets also. And he's also a Mexican bandit, and he's got a band of bullets here. Bandolero. And he's marrying them. And at the same time, my intention was that this is a piece of shit, see? And so on.
That must be from their boss.
And I found it so wonderful to you could do that with etchings. So like just pure. I don't know if you guys know what etching is. I mean, I don't. Ken does, but I'll show you plates. It's a piece of copper or zinc, and it's covered with a waxy black substance, and it'll come off if you put your finger on it. And you can use a needle or a pencil or anything, and there's no resistance whatsoever. Your needle just goes on this substance, and wherever it touches the plate, the acid can go through, and that's how the mark comes about. No, that's hard. That's hard. It's hard in any print though because you're working the other way. Like I wanted it to be this way. It made a big difference whether this was on the right side or the left side emotionally. And so you have to, like I learned how to work. The drawing would be transferred onto tracing paper, and then the tracing would be put on the plate, and then it would, when it printed, it would come out the original way. So I could take that drawing, for drawing. Okay, let's tramps down into the studio.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. Well, let me just do one of this thing. Okay. That's better. I use this in because it's it saves my legs. And oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, this is. These are all a few years ago. This was the person who did most of my printing, and she didn't start teaching me. Another guy taught me, but this guy turned out to be a Christian fundamentalist, and he got the whiff of what I was doing, and he didn't want to work with me anymore, really. And she did, and so they went to the print teacher, and who was a friend, Feldman, sort of friend, and he said, "Listen, Tomer wants to be a studio assistant, and this other guy doesn't." I said, "That's great. Let her be the studio assistant." So for about 3 years, she was a studio assistant. What also helped me in the studio here, when we didn't have prints to do, and she became a painter simply by being my studio assistant. She says I taught her, but I really didn't. But she saw this particular painting, a big one, and this is a painting I've been working on for. I mean, I think it's close to being finished. I could exhibit it tomorrow, probably. But it went through some very major reconstructions. And she was part of all that. And she began to see the relationship between her black and white prints and what you could do with a plate in terms of scraping things and making major changes. And she began to love that. And also the color. Anyway, her name was Tamara. She's a Serbian. And she had a daughter who was leukemic. And we fell in love. So this was in the heyday. This was just before her graduate exhibition, which was a big success. And it went through a lot of ramifications. It was always photorealistic in part. She's photorealistic, and the other parts aren't. And I actually put her on the back porch and took a lot of pictures of her in this outfit, and it became. I scraped off everything else. It was huge heads of her and a child, and her agony of with leukemia. I mean, being a mother with a leukemic child. And finally, I just said, "Look, this is not working. I'm going to start from scratch." And so I took pictures and changed some things, and just put it on the canvas without any idea of what was going to happen. And what happened, of course, is I started superimposing these flowers that I used to use all the time. And this was originally like that white flower behind that yellow pan figure, and it became kind of a sphere. And what I discovered was that even though I knew major parts of painting, the other parts would have to take their good time in coming to some kind of visualization, and then they had to be painted. And there's a difference between simply coming up with an ocean, well, that's looking like a planet, and that's me as Icarus, and actually it's like setting words to music and then taking the music and orchestrating it. That to me is the difference between let's say drawing, or even to a certain extent printmaking and painting. And it's not just dealing with an image, it's dealing with an image in a language of tactility, which is and physical aspects, which is what paint is. It's a big responsibility to stick paint on the canvas. And right now, I don't know why I want to stick paint on the canvas, so I can't do it. It's like that. I don't want the responsibility of mixing up a big, batch of paint and then putting it on and then having to scrape it all off when it's dry, which is a very difficult thing to do. I'll show you an example of when I stopped painting. The dogs, I can't show you now, but everything seemed to be coming together, except that I knew I needed some darks in the bottom of the painting to balance especially to give life to the whiteness. And to me, the whiteness of her gown is partly that she was going to be soon sprung into the real world, and she was going to have to compete for jobs, and she had a couple of strikes against her. One, she was Serbian. 2, she was beautiful. 3, she had a leukemic child. And 4, she was an artist of major proportions. So, it's like, and she was unstable. So there was a couple of, really, I grieved for her. And that was expressed finally in the bottom part was nothing but drips. And it sounds to me almost like, oh, of course, but it's like discovering some great truth. It wasn't working. If you take out the darks at the bottom, the painting has some power and some poetry, but it needs something dire. And there was a lot of black and a lot of drips, and there was nothing there. All of a sudden, this is very beautiful, very significant in my life, in any creator's life, I think, is that at my best, I have a direct link to the unconscious. And I'm sitting in the room, and yet these things are happening to me. And what I started to see was an animal in the scrapes and in the gashes and in the black and in the mud. It was muddy too, which is different than black. So I took a sketch pad, and I won't show you now because it takes too much time. But I saw a bovine face, a cow, and so I drew it. And then and I said to myself, this is not the right thing. A bovine cow is not, a bovine is, a cow is not right. Maybe something else. I'll wait and see. The next day there were like 4 cows and a pig. The third day there was a boar with tusks. I said, something's happening. See, the message is coming. It's like, can I remember a name of somebody that we knew 20 years ago? Mm-hmm. No, but if I put it in the computer, 10 minutes later it'll come out. That's the name. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then I started. Then a graduate student of mine showed. He's a very good painter, but he also was an excellent photographer, professional photographer. Took wonderful pictures of my work. But he showed his dog. He loved this dog, and he showed the dog leaping. He captured the dog leaping with fangs. Like you don't see too much of that. And I looked at that and I said, "That's what I need." I said, "Gary, lend me the slide." He said, "Fine." He gave me the slide. Before he gave me the slide, I already sketched dogs that appeared. And so I sketched the dog. Then after the dogs were in, and he lent me the slide, he gave me the slide, I discovered there was a Greek myth of a 3-headed dog, which could be controlled and so on if it gets... What?
Cerberus.
Right. And so I said, there it is, So another, like when the 3-headed dog appears, then I start doing research on the Greek myth. Why do research on the Greek myth? I'm not a Greek scholar. I like to do it up to a point. I forget all the names right away. It's like a sieve. But I know it sifts into the unconscious. That's the difference. Anyway, so that's the beauty about this is, and I see when I look at this and why it's so important for me to show these, especially in a small group like this, is that I begin to see what I was doing. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm without direction. Apparently, I have the power, and you can see it in this painting also, that when conditions are right, to express a kind of psychological, spiritual force field. So this woman is really not afraid of the dogs, even though they're very interested in what's in her hand and also what the other hand. But she's so she's repulsing it simply by her being. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. And it's got to be like, that's me in the painting. It can't be a man. It can't be a generic man with a mustache. It's a caricature in a way, but it's still me. And she's very much her. It's like that. And it's this. It's like a column of force, which nothing can penetrate. And it's like a complete rejection of all 20th century art, except the idea of juxtaposing things in a non-literal space. But the whole idea of deformation, deconstruction, depersonalization, dehumanization, I'm totally, unutterably against. And it's hard to be that way. Ken is also, obviously. You don't know how unique you are. You did it in a sort of an indirect fashion. You're not talking about your personal life, and I am. But this is so mavericky and so wonderful to be able, in spite of, I can't even open an art magazine anymore because what I see, this is a gross exaggeration, but the last time I looked at an art magazine, I used to get them, was a guy got $150,000